Hey everyone, I'm Ashlyn RH, and today I'm bringing you all a spoiler-free, slightly animated first look at Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. So I know this video is a bit late on account of the fact that I got the flu, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I have about 10 hours so far, and the game has about 30 in total, so pretty good. A little bit of background about me. I love the first game. I played it to death and I think about it often. So I've been really excited to see where this game would go. And a little nervous too, on account of its nightmare development. If you would like to learn more about that, please check out my shorts. I make weekly videos where I cover everything gaming. And boy, I never thought this game would actually make it to proof. I have been having an absolute blast so far. As opposed to Bloodlines 1, we start the game off as an elder vampire, the cream of the crop. And the game wastes no time in presenting us with the power fantasy of our dreams. Now, I want to address the elephant in the room. There are no weapons, per se. Instead, we fight using our bloodline powers and bare fists. The game offers 6 bloodlines, or tracks, of power that we can choose from. Just from my early testing, I can say that each one really encompasses whatever vampire power fantasy you would be looking for. Attacks feel meaty, powers impactful, and mixing between them does keep the combat fresh. So far though, I would say enemy variety is poor. You tend to fight the same mobs over and over, which isn't terrible if the combat is enjoyable, which it is, but it remains to be seen if it can stay that way after hours and hours of the same loop. The progression feels really rewarding, but has me worried as even this early in, I feel like I'm so close to reaching my capstone abilities as a vampire that I don't know where we go from here if there's still so much more game left. Oh, also, as you progress, you do unlock more and more outfits to complete your vampire fit, and I have to say, they're all really nice. Which is nice and refreshing compared to the first game, which had very limited outfits and customization. So that's combat and a bit of progression. Well, what about the narrative? Well, good news. I actually think the story is where this game is at its best. Set in Seattle, our character is an elder vampire known as the Nomad, or Fire, who has been abruptly awoken from their deep sleep known as torpor by an unknown figure who has gone through extreme trouble to bring us over to America and brand us with an unknown mark, which is pretty sweet. On top of all of that, we have launched in our brain another vampire who goes by the name of Fabian and is a noir-esque Malkavian detective. And honestly, just off the bat, the hook is there. I'm already engrossed in the narrative. On top of that, the game keeps twists and turns as it spends appreciated time unraveling the secrets of the vampires of Seattle, as well as our own background, which remains quite a mystery. It has been quite a bit since I have lost time playing a video game, but this story has had me captivated. And I honestly can't wait to see where it goes. It helps that the characters telling this story are each appealing in their own way and played by an excellent cast of voice actors. Personally, I feel that Fire does an alright job, but it's really the supporting cast and Fabian that knock it out of the ballpark. Now, speaking of doing incredibly well, this game somehow runs excellently for me. I played on PS5 and I have had very few problems so far. And if we're comparing it to Bloodlines 1, which we are, Bloodlines 1 to this day cannot run without a community mod backing it up. It is that bad. So this is a pretty big step forward for it. Okay, so those are some pluses. I think that being a vampire in Seattle is extremely fun. I think that map navigation is extremely fun. I think that walking around and using your abilities feels fresh, and the visual language that they use to craft those abilities is interesting. But now I want to talk about the negatives. For an RPG, this game doesn't really have as many skills or ways to progress as I'm used to. In fact, it really pares down the first game. In dialogue, there's always a way to roleplay your specific background, and it feels like the choices are deeply meaningful. But as far as interacting with the world, There's no skill to help you unlock a door or hack a terminal or sneak for blackmail. That's all gone here, and I feel that that's a real shame, as those extra elements add the needed depth that without it, this game feels worse off for. So far, the world is well crafted and deeply exciting, but it's also small. It doesn't give you ways to organically find new or interesting quests. So, for an example, there's buildings all around you. In the first game, you could find an exciting building, walk into it, and stumble upon a quest organically, and that felt like you were making your own narrative. Here, it feels like person A tells you to go to place B, and you do it. It reminds me more of a linear narrative experience, which, well crafted, can be deeply exciting, but it feels weak as an RPG. All in all, this game is not Bloodlines 1. But I don't think I would go so far as to call this not a Bloodlines game. It feels like Bloodlines, but just too safe. The first game had character, charm. It was unabashedly an early 2000s game. This feels like it wants to be that, but more palatable. And I think it suffers for it. I know I haven't finished the game yet, so take all of this with a grain of salt. But right now, we know that the DLC plan for this game is different perspectives of the main storyline. And I think that's a bad idea. What this game needs, what it desperately craves, are more RPG elements. What I recommend it does is add those. Add skills that actually matter in the world. Hide things in the environment. I'm not talking little collectibles. I'm talking actual quest lines that you can find, areas to discover, people to meet, items to buy, and make it feel like we are crafting our own narrative of our own elder vampire in our own way. And I really don't think it would take all that much to add a lot into the game. It's just missing a few things. One of the big things it could do is add better music. The first game had actual artists, actual vocalists from this world, our world, the human world. And it added those into the game, and they felt iconic and bespoke and like they belonged in a campy, vampire, early 2000s game. We need more stuff like that in this game. And honestly, they can do that. Now, this is just my early review. And I will say, I am still having a blast. Like I said, I am losing time to this game because it's really fun to just interact with the story and the narrative. Even if, being honest, there are parts that make me a little sad that aren't there. But that's what I have to say about the game. And I'm only one person, which is why I want to hear from you. How is your experience with the game so far? What do you like about it? What needs improvement? What feels missing to you? Or what feels exciting and new? Let me know, and keep an eye out. The full review for this game is still coming out soon, and I'm really excited to have it out for you guys. Until then, this has been Ashlyn RH, and I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, take care.